tonight.
We just needed to be practical and make somewhat sense.
A heated debate at a special meeting of Regina City Council over a proposed development in the Douglas Park neighborhood. Also,
grab it there and maybe.
SpaceX staff arrive in Saskatchewan to collect debris from farmers, pieces of a spacecraft that should have burned up in the atmosphere.
Homer Simpson, the Saskatchewan connection.
Did you know Homer Simpson's namesake was born in Saskatchewan? We do a history deep dive.
Look at the city slicker pulling up in his fancy German car.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Tuesday, June 11th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening and thanks for watching. A former director at Legacy Christian Academy in Saskatoon was back in court today for the second day of his trial. Pratush Dayal has the details.
Former students of Christian Center Academy accused John Olbebuchen of hitting them with a wooden paddle, testifying it as a form of scriptural discipline. On Monday, three brothers told a Saskatoon courtroom that they were often paddled, and the same emotionally heavy theme continued on with Tuesday's witnesses as well. The former Saskatoon Christian School director is facing 9 counts of assault with a weapon. The first witness Tuesday testified to a packed courtroom that Olbebuchen paddled him on his rear end upwards of 30 times. The next 2 witnesses were women who shared similar experiences. One of them told the court she was paddled and called ungodly and a bad influence for listening to a Christian band and dyeing her hair. Caitlin Erickson was the other female witness. She told the court between 2003 and 2005 she was paddled multiple times for her attitude, usually 3 to 6 times in one sitting. She said Olbebuchen would lift her fleece vest and touch her and take time between hitting. Erickson said on one occasion she was bruised from her buttocks right down to her thighs. The court also heard from a former teacher and a parent. Olbebuchen did not react visibly throughout the testimony, but he was feverishly taking down notes throughout the day. Erickson told the court, and I quote, "I've never experienced physical abuse to this degree until this man hit me." She also said, and I quote, "The physical pain was a lot, but the psychological pain was also a lot." Olbebuchen has pleaded not guilty on all the counts, and the trial is supposed to last till Thursday. Pratish Dayal, CBC News, Saskatoon.
We now go to Regina City Hall, where a passionate debate continues over a potential development. A special meeting of City Council was called to talk about a 5-story development in Douglas Park. Our Alexander Kwan has stepped out of the meeting to bring us the latest. So, Alex, what exactly are they debating?
So, as you said, this is a special meeting of City Council. There's just one thing on the agenda. It's the creation of this, a 5-story building that will feature 90 units, will have underground parking, and will have a built-in daycare. But there has also been an extraordinary amount of pushback to this development from people who say it will change the area's character. The Douglas Park neighborhood is made up of mostly single-family homes with very few apartment buildings or condos. That response is why there is a special council meeting today. More than 27 delegates have signed up to speak. The meeting started at 1 o'clock. It's still going on right now.
A lot of people to get through. So what's happened so far?
Well, it started off with a recusal from one councillor. That's because this proposal is from the Winchester Group. Now, that's a business that's owned by Joshua Bresciani. He's the son of Ward 4 councillor Lori Bresciani. Because of that connection, rumors, allegations have swirled online, including in some of the delegates that spoke today. But in fact, Lori has repeatedly recused herself anytime this subject has come up, and she did so again today.
For the record, I would also like to add, it has been insinuated that me and my family have influenced the sale and the rezoning of this land. I want to ensure everyone knows these accusations are untrue.
Now, once those, once that got out of the way and everything was established, the delegations began. And as I said, 27 delegations have spoke today or are scheduled to speak today. Here's some of what we heard.
The takeaways, that's been reinforced through this process for me is if density is good, and that is the goal of the city and it's important, then density is good everywhere.
If the development is allowed to go ahead, the increase in density will cause a strain on our school system, and some studies show that crime rates may increase with the lack of stability, as apartments are known for higher turnover of residents.
So, Alex, while a few people did speak in favor, it's my understanding that the majority have asked council to reject it. So what happens next?
So, I think the best way to look at this is it's really a test for council. They've already agreed to loosen their rules around development in order to build more housing. That was in exchange for $35 million from the federal government's Housing Accelerator Fund. Now, this development didn't come in front of council until before that was passed, and so it doesn't apply for those rules. But the proposal does meet a lot of the requirements and the goals laid out in that agreement. So it all really depends if City Council is going to show that it has a commitment to building housing, or if it backs off under a lot of public pressure. Sam?
All right. Thanks for this, Alex. That's the CBC's Alexander Kwan live from Regina City Hall tonight. In June, year-end field trips are something that students usually look forward to. But in Regina, the public school division is canceling them because of a limited number of buses. Teachers have now indefinitely withdrawn from noon hour supervision and extracurricular activities as part of their ongoing job action. Regina Public buses are being used to drop off students at home over the lunch break, which leaves none for field trips. But at least two other school divisions, Good Spirit and Saskatoon Public, say they will have field trips as long as they're within school hours. Those two divisions say field trips are co-curricular and aren't affected by teachers' sanctions. A Saskatchewan farmer got quite the surprise in April when he found pieces of space junk on his land. And he wasn't the only one. 5 farmers found 8 pieces of debris in total in the area. They belong to SpaceX, and today the company came to collect. Laura Sharpaletti was there.
Are you guys with SpaceX? I'm very sorry, we're not able to speak to journalists.
2 men in a U-Haul. Not exactly a sophisticated recovery mission by the American spacecraft manufacturer SpaceX. They were greeted by the farmer who found their space junk and a horde of media.
We are with SpaceX, and I'm afraid we're not allowed to make any statements on behalf of SpaceX.
Do you know why it didn't burn up?
I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to make any statements.
It's on this very property where space and farming collided mere months ago. And today, SpaceX came out all the way to near Ituna, Saskatchewan to pick up 4 pieces of space debris that were supposed to have burned up in the atmosphere. The 2 SpaceX employees repeatedly told reporters they could not answer questions, but they did speak with Barry Sawchuk in a separate room.
Well, they're trying to figure out why it's not burning up coming down. And it's like hopefully once in a lifetime thing that they find out why it didn't.
This astronomer says the burnt up space trash was the trunk part of a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft. In February, the spacecraft returned to Earth carrying 4 passengers from the International Space Station. She says the fallen space junk will not be an isolated incident.
It's going to happen over Canada more often because of the orbits that SpaceX has chosen to use, right? SpaceX dominates the use of orbit right now. They have something like 62% of all satellites are SpaceX. So it's really important for Canadians to know, like, the highest density of those Starlink satellites is right above our heads, right here in southern Saskatchewan.
Lawler says SpaceX needs to be transparent about how their operations are affecting the atmosphere and how they deal with situations like this one.
There's no public admission of this. There's no apology. There's no, right? Like, they could have killed people. They could have killed people in Saskatchewan. Those pieces are huge, right? What if it had fallen on Regina? What if it had fallen on Barry Sawchuk's house, right? Like, it absolutely would have killed people.
SpaceX paid Sawchuk an undisclosed sum for the debris. Now, the farmer says he's ready to move on from the space saga and hit the fields once again.
Just get back to work, just keep getting ready for spraying and stuff like that.
In the meantime, Sawchuk says all the money he received from SpaceX for the debris will go directly into funding the new Ituna rink. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, near Ituna.
A talented group of Canadian artistic swimmers no longer have to hold their breath regarding their Olympic dream. Team Canada qualified to compete in both the duet and team events in Paris.
From Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Sydney Carroll.
The 9-woman team includes 2 swimmers from Saskatchewan. Sydney Carroll is from Saskatoon and Kenzie Purdell is from Regina. Purdell is the team's co-captain and joined the senior national team in 2019. The 26-year-old was the alternate for Team Canada's artistic swimming team in Tokyo in 2020.
Everyone stepped in and played a different role, took on new roles, and really just did everything to make it happen. So I think we really leaned on everyone, and there was sometimes, you know, it's difficult, but we knew that with the team we were going to get through it, and we did. We kept our motivation, we kept trusting each other and just taking it one step at a time, and we ended up getting our biggest dreams and qualifying for the Olympics.
Carroll is the traveling alternate for the team. The 21-year-old joined the senior national team in 2020 and helped Canada win team bronze at the 2023 Pan American Games. Team Canada has won 8 Olympic medals in artistic swimming, including 3 gold, 4 silver, and 1 bronze. Canada's most recent Olympic medal came at Sydney in 2000 in the team event. The Paris Olympics open in 45 days on July 26th. What a nice day to be outside after some rain. The sunshine returned and these canoers took advantage of the nice day to hop on Wascana Lake for a paddle. What's to come for the rest of the week? Ethan will have your forecast after the break. Stay with us. Homer Simpson is internationally known as the dad of the Simpsons family, but not many people may know that his namesake was born in Saskatchewan. So how did we make that connection? Dan Zakreski explains.
Homer Simpson, the Saskatchewan connection. Story time.
You want the truth? You want the truth? You can't handle the truth!
The truth is, cartoon Homer Simpson is actually based on Matt Groening's dad, Homer Groening. And Homer Groening was born just after Christmas in 1919 in rural Saskatchewan. Really rural. The hamlet is called Main Centre, tucked down in the southwest on the flat edge of nowhere. The closest big town was Herbert. So how did Homer Groening end up in Main Centre? Well, his dad, Abe Groening, had moved there from Kansas. Homer. Abe.
Guys like me! I'm a guy like me!
A pattern is emerging.
Now, my story begins in 1962.
1918, actually. That's when Abe Groening and his young family arrived at the Saskatchewan border. They were Mennonites from Kansas who headed north to avoid conscription in World War I. Shane Fraser hit the archives to find out why Saskatchewan.
They must have heard that Herbert was great from a distant relative. That diaspora of Mennonites, that was all from basically the same place. And they settled in Canada and they settled in the States, just different colonies, but they were all basically related. So they must have had relations, and Herbert knew that that was a good place to escape to.
Abe Groening farmed the area for 2 years, heading back south after the war in 1920 with baby Homer in tow. Homer grew up and eventually moved to Portland, Oregon. He had 5 kids, and his youngest son, Matt Groening, gave a tip of the hat to Herbert, Saskatchewan, and his dad's Canadian roots when on The Simpsons, Homer met his older half-brother.
Hello in there! Homer? Herb?
Dan Zakreski, CBC News, Saskatoon.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. New truck trade-up is on now.
Well, if that just doesn't put a giant smile on your face, we can always find a Saskatchewan connection.
Isn't that true? Everything is always somehow related back to our province here. But I'll tell you what, Sam, in terms of the weather today, nobody's saying boo earns when it comes to our forecast here. You don't need Mr. Plow to come out because, let me tell you, in terms of The weather. Things are looking pretty sunny today in Springfield, Saskatchewan. Yes, Springfield, sometimes known as Springfeld, depending on who you ask in this part of the province, just south of Swift Current, not too far from Main Centre, directly under the Earth's sun now as we speak. 25 degrees there under the sunshine today, and that is the case throughout much of the province as we see those mostly sunny skies. But we have had a lot of rain these past couple of days, and we will tell you about those rainfall totals in a minute. But look at these temperatures, mid-20s. Haven't seen this in a while through the province. Now, in terms of the rain, enough to make you say, that's it, back to Winnipeg. We're done with the rain here in the province, but no, we have gotten quite a soaking over these past 24 hours or so. June 10th, yesterday, we reported 20 to 30 for most areas. There was one station just west of Hudson Bay, which reported nearly 40 millimeters of rain. Now, a little bit more rain is on the way through these next couple of days here. This low pressure system out of Alberta going to be moving in, bringing through some showers and storms to west central Saskatchewan a little bit later this evening. That then moves into kind of the rest of central areas, including Saskatoon and even down to Regina by early tomorrow morning. And then we get some clearing as we head out through the commute tomorrow, but then another round of storms possible along this line, roughly kind of following the Yellowhead Highway as we get into tomorrow afternoon. A couple of those could become severe, so we'll keep an eye on that. Then mostly just kind of showery and cloudy for central Saskatchewan Thursday as the south starts to clear out. And then another round of clouds for Friday. Showers bringing possibly in the range of maybe 5 to 10 millimeters. Locally, maybe some heavier pockets there. That's mostly through central regions. For the south, I think we'll mostly be spared by the rain this time around, but it is going to be very, very windy over these next couple of days, especially in the south tomorrow. Again, gusting 60 to 70 at times. And then things coming down a little bit as we head into Thursday. But no Hurricane Barbara on the way or anything like that. If you're in Springfield, don't worry about that. Regina, possibly some thunderstorms tomorrow. Again, mostly non-severe, but windy. Temperatures holding steady for Thursday with possible showers, and then things clearing out Friday, Saturday as we hit the mid-20s, looking quite nice. Then the pattern changes again here. The next system starting to move through the end of the weekend will drop temperatures back below seasonal as we head into Tuesday. And for Saskatoon, again, possibly some severe thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon under those mostly cloudy conditions. You'll get a nice Friday, Saturday as well, but then temperatures coming back as we see some rain moving through. So yes, some moisture, Sam, but no Class 3 kill storm or anything like that moving through.
Any last puns you want to get in?
No, I think I got them all.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Well, the grill was sizzling for Saskatoon City Hall's annual pancake breakfast this morning. Local musicians and performers did their part to entertain a very hungry crowd. Proceeds from the piles of pancakes will go to the United Way. We'll be back after the break. In Calgary, the mayor says residents will need to continue to conserve water after a water main broke last week.
We are still under water restrictions. The feeder main has not been repaired yet. So you and I need to make sure that we're not using any outdoor water. And inside our homes, we need to stick with limiting shower times, toilet flushes, and dishwasher and laundry loads.
She says restrictions will likely last into the weekend. City workers will need more time to fix a major pipeline break and flush out that system. More than 1.6 million people have been under a water emergency since last Wednesday. And Mr. Ethan is back with one last look at your weather.
Well, the forecast so similar. Regina may start to look like Saskatoon, Sam, but temperature-wise tonight in Regina, we'll be looking for 15 degrees. We do have a chance of some showers under partly cloudy skies. Then tomorrow morning, things clearing out. I think we'll start sunny, temperature nice and warm already by 8 a.m. Those west winds gusting to 40 at times. And then as we get into the afternoon, a little bit of some cloud cover, but 22. Keep in mind those winds picking up up a bit. There is the chance of an afternoon shower and thunderstorm as well. For Saskatoon, the first round of showers and storms are possible this evening. And then we get into tomorrow morning, we get a bit of a break by 8 a.m. But then as we head into the noon hour, this is when the possibly severe storms may show up with a temperature of around 17 degrees, Sam.
All right. Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And before we go, with 2 new books, a Regina author is still writing and publishing at 101 years old. One of those books is a book about Kay Parley's own life, and she says she's not stopping anytime soon.
And I started publishing in 1951. So that's 70 years of writing that have gone into that, you see. So that's why we called it One Woman's Century. This isn't something I just wrote. This is a collection of material I've been writing for years, because I've done a lot of articles about places I've lived, people I've known, things I've done, from being raised on a farm to teaching country schools to being at CBC, being a psychiatric nurse at Weyburn. You know, I had a breakdown and I was treated in the Weyburn Mental Hospital, and I found I liked it.
And in 1952, a radical new drug was introduced in Canada, in Saskatchewan. It was called lysergic acid diethylamide. It would soon become better known as LSD.
I took LSD from Francis Huxley. That's what gets me. I wasn't terribly excited about LSD. They thought they had a pretty good example of what schizophrenics were going through, because there was a lot of visual distortion and so on. Well, I had a breakdown and I never had any visual distortion. All I ever had was voices, and I never heard of anybody under LSD saying they heard voices. But after I got out, I remember thinking, I wonder if I could train as a psych nurse. And no, I don't think so. So I went back to Weyburn and hung around for a little while. And finally, I got up the nerve to go over and apply to go on staff. I didn't know if they'd take me. To my surprise, they not only took me, they just about said, welcome, you know. A lot of people think I was terribly wasteful and stupid to have done so many things, you see, dropping this and doing something else all the time. And I saw that as a wonderful idea. Like when I sit down at my typewriter, I still use a typewriter because I can't look at a computer screen. I'm just so at home. I was happy writing. I started publishing in 1951. So, you know, I've been going at it for a long, long time. So it's just part of me. I'd die without writing it. Hope it'll show people that you can go through anything and come out laughing. You know what I mean?
What a great message. That is it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely evening.